One of the most profound things I've learned in my life is that it's actually not about my hair at all. I've spent a lifetime trying to cover up who I am. And as much as I love a good external transformation, and I do, I much more love a heart transformation. Join me as I share how I work to heal my heart, find happiness, and embrace our hair. Welcome back to It's Not About Your Hair, where we talk all things hair, heart, and happiness. Today, I wanted to catch up on a previous episode where I shared with you guys I want to call it maybe the power of manifestation, but I think manifestation gets super weird in the world. Uh, and we get it, I think, uh, I'm not a manifestation guru, so I'm not going to say that you can't just believe and receive. I think that that's a real fine line and a spooky trap, to be honest. I don't think that's how the world works. Again, I'm going to apologize if you didn't listen to last week's episode. I talked about I'm in a construction zone, and so that's just what it is. But we're going to film anyways because that's what we're here to do. I think sometimes in the world, we believe that you can just manifest and have everything that you want. In my life, I think about in the Bible, it says that the Lord desires to give us the desires of our heart. It also says to love your neighbor as yourself. We mix these things up. I've mixed these things up. So really quickly, the desires of my heart, what does that mean? Money, fame, success, the big house, the nice car. Is that what God desires to give me? Well, I don't know what he desires to give you. But what I know is that if I don't know myself, I can't know my desires. Love your neighbor as yourself is another really important thing that I think often we negate. Who is your neighbor tends to be a little bit more of our focus, whether we're in the Christian world or we're in the secular world, whether you're a believer or an unbeliever. We tend to believe that our neighbor is the people that we like. Well, that's a lie from the pit of hell. Your neighbor is every single person that you interact with. And it's not just who you like. So love your neighbor like yourself comes back to the idea of, do I like myself? I would say for me, the answer historically has been no. I would say most recently, the answer is heck yeah. I used to think that loving myself was something vain or wrong, that loving myself was actually anti-Christian, and then that if I loved myself, I was too new agey or new worldy or vain or, I think here's the thing. We have to make room for all of the things. We can't be too rigid in our lines because when we do that, we don't make space for growth and change. We talked about this on the last episode. I talk about the same thing because healing your hair, heart, and happiness all tend to lend to the continued rhythm of finding your own authentic self inside of a world that's telling you to look and be like somebody else. Manifest the money. Okay. But you can't manifest something that's got a sole intention of selfishness. I know rich people who suck. I'm sure you do too. I know poor people that are awesome and don't have two pennies to rub together. So how do we manifest the life that we want? How do we love our neighbor as ourselves? I'm bringing these two things together because I think they're big topics in the world. Talked about them before, but I think it's always important to touch up on these things. So you have to know yourself. You have to get comfortable with giving yourself forgiveness, giving yourself grace, expecting that you're going to make mistakes. Because if we don't, we keep trying to put new things on, try new things on, new personalities, new clothes, new cars, new houses, new jobs. And we think if I make something outside of me fit me, then I'm going to be really living the life. Hashtag blessed. For me, I've discovered that it's nothing external that ever has satisfied. Although I spent, as Richard Rohr would say, the first half of my life acquiring, acquiring. And I think most of us have to. How long the first half of your life lasts depends on how much life experience you have. Uh, but the second half of life, I think we begin to take things off, and we have to get naked and unafraid, unashamed. And naked, not physically, although for you ladies, I think that that's also important. We have to love ourselves. We have to be kind to ourselves. So naked physically, I think that, and this is still a struggle. It's still a struggle, but you guys, I think we have to love ourselves. We have to be grateful for ourselves, because if you are so mean to yourself, no one is meaner to you than you are to yourself. And there's just no way around that. It's the truth. If every time you look at yourself, and I'm guilty, you're like, that stomach, ugh, that stomach. And, but if I look at myself and I choose to focus on what I like about myself and I'm grateful, that stomach of mine, I know you guys have heard this before, but has housed, well, 4 babies, miscarriage 100 years ago, but 4 human beings started and grew inside of that belly that now makes my nose cringe and my eyes look icky. That sends a negative feeling into my insides about the way that I look. The back of my arms, the back of my legs, the this, the that, my chest. And it makes me ungrateful for this body that allows me to get up every day, to go for a walk, to enjoy the fresh air, to go to work, to hug my kids. I mean, we have to be able to flip that. So love myself can be as simple as staring at myself and thanking my body for being what it is. Thanking God for giving me this body. Loving myself can be forgiving myself. What do you need to forgive about yourself? What have you done that you're not proud of? Often we reflect back the hate that we have for ourselves towards others in the form of judgment. This weekend, I was paid the biggest compliment by 2 people, really incredible. One, someone that's really, really, really successful that, I'm sure I would want to be like, and one that's going through a really hard time, also very successful. Neither of them knew me before this weekend, so I think that's really awesome. But one of them said, "I don't know what it is about you, but you just have so much peace, but it's like a wise peace or a settledness that I haven't ever really felt before." And I just started crying when that was said to me. And they asked, like, where did that come from? And where did it come from? Came up with a really long answer. I'm sure he regretted asking it almost right away. And it came from a life that has been full of shame, rejection, loss, insecurity, joy, love. It came from a life surrendered to Jesus. And I really can't say it any other way. It came from a life of seeking other people's approval and having faith over here to a life of faith in here, surrendered. I've talked about this before, but fearfully and wonderfully made, Psalms 139, that he knew me before he formed me, that he knit me together in my mother's womb, that all the days of my life are laid out for me. Believing that the one who created the hills here in Austin, the trees in Michigan, the people all over the planet, the wind and the stars and the sea created me. Sitting with that, believing that, trusting that, trusting that the creator of all things created me and that I'm unique and special. We can look at nature, be mesmerized by butterflies and the the transformation of a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's absolutely spectacular. Freaking incredible, actually. A tree that grows from a seed and sprouts up into this huge 300-year-old oak tree. Uh, and we can look at that. I think all agree, no matter our background, that it's beautiful. And when a tree, a piece of it dies and we prune it back, or the butterfly is in its a friend just told me this week that when a butterfly gets into the caterpillar gets into the chrysalis, at one point in the time in the chrysalis, it's nothing but goo. It actually turns to nothing to then become something spectacular. You freaking kidding me with that? Can we sit with that for a minute? My friends, the world would tell us that we have to keep getting more beautiful to be loved. We have to keep getting more beautiful to be spectacular. But nature tells us one must die in order to become. One must make itself nothing. I think about a tree in the winter, barren completely, only to burst forth more fruit season after season from its barren time. If you are going through a dark season, my girlfriend says the dark night of the soul, and it feels as if you're all goo, and the world would say then that you're failing, I would say this is the exact moment to start loving yourself. In the goo, we realize how absolutely powerless we are to the transformation. And we then can either fully go into the metamorphosis and come out with wings, or we can not survive the transformation. And some of us go inside and become more bitter and more angry because the pain is hard of change and transformation and sanctification. It's hard. So he said, you have this piece about you. What is it? I don't always have it, but I do believe that I do have something. I have a surrenderedness and I have a knowing that I am absolutely spectacular. Absolutely spectacular, that I'm one of a goddamn kind. And not only do that, the peace that emanates that I think that he felt when he asked that was that I believe that about him, her, you, them, my neighbor. And that doesn't mean that some of them don't get on my nerves. Some of you are annoying. I am annoying to many of you. You comment on my Facebook page often that I should quit talking. Uncomfortable. It's not nice. But the truth is that we are constantly in a state of goo and transformation. And only when we realize that so is everyone else, we have grace for them to become. If someone's icky and sticky, we can realize, oh, they're in a transformation state. And I can choose to feed their soul with kindness, with a willingness, even if they're icky and sticky, to believe that they are changing, as am I. And here's the part about it is that we're all on different paths as we change. So some of us have gotten our wings already. Some of us might have our wings clipped. Some of us are a big, chubby, fluffy caterpillar, and we're just inching along. Some of us have wings and we can fly. Some of us are inside of the goo. Love your neighbor as yourself. Where are you on the journey? I think it's really beautiful when we take time to think about it, when we take time to believe. And so that goes into, maybe not as much as I was hoped, into the manifestation, but the manifestation comes from knowing who you are. Because when you know who you are, you're not trying to just manifest outside things to make you better. I'm praying for wisdom, for guidance. I'm manifesting that my life will be full, that I'll look for purpose in every day. That do I want money? Absolutely, I do. Do I want freedom to not be afraid? Yes, I do. Do I want to have nice things? Of course I do. I mean, it's just, do I want to be able to thrift in every city in the world? Yes, my land, I do. But that's not what I'm manifesting. I'm manifesting satisfaction. I'm manifesting that have a desire to be transformed. I'm manifesting that I will have a willingness to love others better. I'm manifesting that I get to be a freaking light to other people that are in darkness, that those who are in a barren season, I am a watering vessel. And I'm believing that everybody is worthy of that process. Are you believing that? Can you believe that with me? Listen, the sun has come out here in Austin. Whew, I got to hit the road. I'm thankful that you're here. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this, would you share it? Would you leave me a comment? Would you follow me? Subscribe. Subscribe is really helpful. Subscribe, share it with a friend, and let's manifest that this is going to make it to the top 100 podcasts of 2025. In next episode, we're going to talk about the Hair Heart Happiness Tracker that I talked about making before I knew how to sell it and where it was going to go. And I shared it on an episode and I said, listen, do the thing you think you're supposed to do and trust that the path of how you're supposed to get it out will work. You guys, I've sold, 900 of those now from an episode, I think 5 or 6 months ago, where I said, I have a dream for this thing. I have zero idea how to do it, but I'm going to move it forward and I'm going to share the process with you. That's manifesting. It's believing in yourself, moving the needle forward, and trusting the process. I can't wait to share more with you. Remember, if you're not okay, tomorrow's a new day, and that you are worthy of love. I'm glad you're here. I guess this is where I ask you to subscribe to my channel, to follow me on social, and to listen wherever podcasts can be found. And join me every Tuesday at 2 as we unpack how to heal your hair, your heart, and your happiness.